All right, well, hopefully we're live again. This is Mike Martin, and you're riding in the back seat of the Tahoe. We are live on patrol in Ramsey County, Minnesota. So for those of you who haven't watched us before, I'm Mike Martin. I'm an Undersheriff with the Ramsey County Sheriff's Office, and our Sheriff Bob Fletcher, about a year and a half ago, started an educational program called Live on Patrol, where we use cameras to show you what we do on a regular basis and talk to you and hopefully show people a different side of the police, something you won't see on most law enforcement programs or cops or on Patrol Live. We love those shows, but it doesn't, they don't really get to talk to the officers as much as, we want people to be able to hear what we do and listen to why we do things the way we do. So our Sheriff Bob Fletcher is the elected sheriff of Ramsey County. It's a county of about 500,000 people in Minnesota. We're on the east side of the Mississippi River, opposite Minneapolis, and our capital city of St. Paul is in Ramsey County, and I'm in St. Paul right now, driving on Phelan, approaching Cayuga here. And we're going to head up to one of our contract cities for a little bit. There's a couple things up there I want to show you. We spend a lot of time in St. Paul, but we are the primary law enforcement agency for 7 cities that we contract with. And I just wanted to show you a few things during the day that you might not otherwise see. We've been extremely busy for the last week with the funeral for Devin Scott, who was stabbed at Harding High School on the east side of St. Paul during an altercation with a couple other individuals. The funeral for that was last week, and unfortunately, after the funeral, there was a reception, and at the reception, someone drove by and shot 3 people outside of the reception. A vehicle fled, and the individuals that were in that vehicle fled on foot, but one was apprehended with a gun. And sadly, our concern is for more retaliation related to that. Unfortunately, the young kids that were involved have been taunting each other on social media, so we're obviously concerned that the retaliation and the feud's going to continue. We're on Interstate 35E going northbound right now, and I apologize for kind of the delay. Usually I go a little bit earlier in the day, and hopefully you weren't at work going, hey, I don't want to work, I want to watch Live on Patrol. But I had an appointment to have my hearing checked today. I know this is gonna surprise people, but my wife says I don't listen to her, but actually my hearing has been pretty bad for a while. And a good friend of mine, Shane Laurie, works for a company called Hearing Life, and he tested my hearing today and recommended that I get hearing aids. And so I'm trying out hearing aids right now. So we'll see how that works. I've already had a couple of phone calls that went direct to my hearing aids and kind of confused me. But it's interesting to hear some of the sounds that I haven't heard lately. And hopefully this will be the beginning of kind of a new chapter for me, being able to actually go to a loud bar or restaurant and carry on a conversation. But we'll see. It's been a busy day in Ramsey County. A lot of stuff going on. We've got some stolen cars that we're looking for. Just so you know, Pat Scott is out, who everybody knows because Pat's always out with Bob on Friday nights, and Pat's out right now working with the CAT team. I think Sergeant Mike Servatka is out working as well. I don't know who else is out because I literally just came from my appointment. So what I'll do is, as we patrol, if there's good stuff going on the radio, I'll turn the radio up and keep my mouth shut. Otherwise, if there's stuff going on that's,
286. 367.
515 Coastal Avenue on a DOT, inspecting a physical, unsheltered male in the building lobby or business. Like,
I will keep you updated. That was a disorderly conduct in a lobby of an apartment building where a male who's unsheltered is in the lobby and they want him to leave, and a couple of St. Paul squads are arriving, and I'm sure they will give him the option of accepting a ride to one of our many homeless shelters that we have. It has been raining most of the day. It was very slippery this morning, but right now I think it's just up above freezing, if I'm not mistaken. So hopefully it won't get too slippery. If you check the Live on Patrol page, you will see that tomorrow night there's a hearing at Washington Technology Magnet School in St. Paul regarding safety and security in St. Paul public schools. I believe it's at 4:30, but if you look at the Live on Patrol site, you will see that. If you live in St. Paul or have children that go to St. Paul public schools, it's a good opportunity to come and have input into the safety and security of your own children, but also the children in your community. And obviously we've had some serious incidents around our schools. This year, I know Sheriff Fletcher has really emphasized the fact that the St. Paul School Board chose a couple years ago to no longer contract for school resource officers with the city of St. Paul, the St. Paul Police Department. And since then, as you might imagine, there's been an increase in incidents and just a sense of lawlessness in the hallways at the schools. And that's no bash on the teachers and administrators, but they don't have the training and the skills and the ability to address a lot of those issues, and the ability to know which groups of kids are feuding with each other and therefore shouldn't be in the same areas or the same schools, and where you might have to have a heightened sense of vigilance around keeping them safe. That's one of the things that school resource officers do, is they do benefit from that intelligence and that information of what's going on in the community that may spill over into the schools. And you know, the suburban areas of Ramsey County all have school resource officers. I believe there are 15 roughly school resource officers in the suburban areas, and none in the city of St. Paul. So yes, I saw the guy in the Lexus who's not signaling his lane changes. But the last thing I want to do right now is do a traffic stop on a highway that's already backed up and make it further backed up. So by the way, I can't read your comments while I'm driving. I'm out by myself today. So I will look at them later, but don't put anything in there that you expect me to respond to right away. I did want to give a shout out to Jeremy. Thanks for being one of our favorite backseaters, Jeremy Kelsenberg, and appreciate your contacting us.
4 Tango code 4. You can cancel another SWAT call.
3 Tango, yes, sir.
If any of you are aware of the shooting that occurred on University and Dale on Saturday, that was also at a funeral reception, but that was not related to the incident, the stabbing and the shooting at the funeral reception on Friday. So, but 5 people were shot, 2 were killed in that incident, and there are known suspects in that case. St. Paul did a tremendous job out at what was a pretty chaotic scene. Radio's not too active right now, but I'm scanning probably 10, 12 different frequencies, metro-wide, statewide, and the 3 channels in the city of St. Paul, the 3 in Ramsey County, and some additional channels that we use for talking to each other. So if something pops off, we will hear it. And I'm in the city of Shoreview right now on Highway 694 going westbound. We have some great businesses in Shoreview and Arden Hills out here, and our other Vadnais Heights, Little Canada, that really keep our residents.
Businesses 2420 Cleveland, the car keys and wallet were stolen out of a locker. Their vehicle appears to still be there for now. The callers are waiting a lot.
So that was a call in the city of Roseville. They have their own police department there, great police department with Chief Erica Scheider of someone who had their car keys and their wallet stolen out of their locker at a gym facility. That's a very common crime that we see, where they break into someone's locker and then steal their valuables, but also will go out and steal their car from the lot. It sounds like this car is still there right now, so the police will respond and hopefully be able to secure it. But a couple of our big employers in Ramsey County are right up here. We're going to drive by them. One is Land O'Lakes. If you're familiar with Land O'Lakes dairy products and agricultural products, they are headquartered here in Arden Hills. And then across the street from them is Boston Scientific. Boston Scientific makes medical devices, among other things. That's what they're probably best known for, to prolong people's life and make their lives healthier. Heart implants and other things.
The caller is 317 on a civil. She said her child's father showed up with the kids, saying she couldn't see them again. His name is Kyle Hicks, light-skinned, black male, 28 years old, 6'3", thin build. He was wearing a black jacket and jeans. Last in apartment 306. I don't know if he's still there. He does have a pickup in hold for him for misdemeanor domestic.
So that's a call on the east side of St. Paul for a, sounds like a non-custodial parent or maybe a shared custody situation, and the father hasn't returned the kids. That's a very common thing for us to respond to, and something where we have to be really careful. But we're far away, so we won't be. But on our left-hand side here, you probably won't see very well, but is the headquarters for Land O'Lakes. And on the right side is the headquarters for Boston Scientific. We work closely with their security staffs to make sure their employees and their guests, their staff are safe. And of course, they're like small cities in there, so from time to time we do have stuff that we need to respond to.
Customer 1 card for EOT, 130 single. Negative. Copy 131.
I have to check here. I want to give a shout out.
One 132.
I'm EOT.
Got to give a shout out to Grant Johnson from Group EXP and Jason Light at Essex Mortgage. Thanks for being backseaters. And oh, by the way, renew your tabs on your car there, Grant. I was told to give you a ribbing about that, but one of the things that we've seen really suffer lately is the people renewing their license tabs. First there was a big backlog, but then now you can do it, but many of the prosecutors in the state now don't want us enforcing expired license tabs, expired plates, because they feel like it has a disproportionate impact on people who can't afford it, which is probably true, but that's where our discretion comes in. We don't have to give a ticket to everybody. Sometimes we just need to remind people, but the fees from those help fund our roads and infrastructure and keep us all safe. And so
Copy the last update.
362 Tango. The caller called back, said He returned the children, went back to his apartment, 306, and made some suicidal threats.
So they're saying that he returned the children there and that child custody thing on the east side. Unfortunately, those are the types of calls that could get very dangerous when you have the emotions of a broken relationship and you have kids involved. And sometimes we see a non-custodial parent will abduct their children, and those can become some very serious events. But this one was resolved safely, and which is good.
345.
You can hear in the background
345.
the dispatcher is doing a roll call
347.
of officers
355.
checking to see whether or not they're leaving on time so that they know whether they should take them out of the system for calls, but it also gives them a chance to make sure everybody's okay.
Roger. 163 Tango copy. In the squad to assist at 746 Selby Avenue, my Tanya Manufacturing for a female that's inside the doors of the address with no shoes on, possibly under the influence or having a mental health issue. My female under 30, 40, black jacket with gray pants.
What's up, Jim?
So you heard that call of a lady that's in the foyer of a business. She has no shoes on and isn't dressed for the weather, and
The vehicle kind of took off on me, so try to catch up.
possibly either has mental health issues or narcotics.
We have that it went westbound. Did it take off from you westbound?
Copy. I think it was going eastbound. 25 Tango, we're behind it, going southbound up Syndicate.
Copy on southbound on Syndicate.
Eastbound, Thomas now.
No, eastbound.
So there's a car right now that
Just
is
following at the time, not pursuing.
failed to stop for one St. Paul officer. Another squad's now following it.
750 is at a black Dodge Durango.
Affirmative.
Affirmative.
We had info last week. Driver and occupants may be armed. In fact, we knew they were armed. They showed pictures on Facebook.
Copy, driver believed to be armed.
Copy, they're at Lexington and going south on Lexington.
So the vehicle's
Copy, on Lexington.
on the west side of St. Paul. Our officers,
27, I may have missed the tri-stock yet.
one of our CAT sergeants just got in the air and said that they had information
No stop yet.
that the occupants of that vehicle were armed. And so now
That weapons history is old from yesterday, so we're not going to pursue on that. Just FYI.
No pursuit for one of them.
25 Tango copy.
the St. Paul sergeant got on the air and said that because the intelligence information was from yesterday, that they won't be pursuing the vehicle. So they're making a decision, main factors as to whether or not a parent had. So not knowing all the factors that they probably know, they've made the decision that it's not worth the risk of pursuing that vehicle for now. So and sometimes that can change as new information comes up, so we'll see what happens.
In-car theft detail. Someone with a 651 area code said AZLIC L39079.
Sorry about that.
Possibly getting on to 94.
2755.
2755.
That's Dodge SUV. Sterling was that a good rental?
Affirmative.
So our CAT team members are asking some questions, trying to
44. I'm going to head over to Marshall.
sorry about that. I just want you to be able to hear.
That could very well be one of the ones from the funeral. But not telling you anything you don't know. Yeah, it was at 478 Marshall on that Friday. Kind of that area.
So because our CAT team deputies have more intelligence and are more kind of in tune with who's who and driving these stolen vehicles, they know who's supposed to be driving that vehicle and information about them, and so they're kind of going to the area to just see if they can find the vehicle. I will head over that way as well, although we're a little ways off. But this is where intelligence becomes so important, knowing who's who, knowing what they're driving, knowing where they hang out, tracking social media if possible. Many of the individuals involved in the shooting last Friday had posed previously with guns in pictures, and so we knew who some of the people were that were armed.
Clear to leave the other officers. We'll take a welfare check.
So right now I'm going southbound on I-35E, heading towards the area where that SUV was last seen.
Caller from 911. She said she was pretending to get a cigarette from the count. Female's a teenage, or has a teenage daughter who lives with her. I think that's a problem. 14-year-old son. For an unshelled surveillance female loitering in the hallway.
That's that girl.
Want to thank all the backseaters that have reached out to us to show support and that watch us. It really means a lot, and it lets us know that our efforts are paying off on some of the work that we do. And the whole idea is to try to make our communities safer and keep these young kids safe and out of trouble.
25 10-year-old peeps behind the Hobby Lobby. Suspect 45-year-old male and drinking and holding over.
The last thing we want is for one of these kids to end up involved in the revolving door of the criminal justice system with no accountability and no good.
Concordia, Brookdale.
That K9, you might have a firearm on. Sharpie goes to 94.
He's down on 94 in the westbound lane of traffic. Suspect is wanted for aggravated domestic assault, terroristic threats, may be armed. Now he's running across the street. He's in the eastbound lane of traffic, running up the hill towards St. Anthony. We need a squad, St. Anthony. Need a squad on St. Anthony.
So we're headed there. It's not too far up here. Male.
Black male, 6'2", blue shirt, blue jeans, jumping the fence. Copy, black male, 6'2", blue shirt, blue jeans, wanted for egg assault, and may have a firearm. See the squad to St. Anthony, near Dale. He's under the Dale Street Bridge in the eastbound lane of traffic. Under the Dale Street Bridge, under the east lane of 94.
So we're
Still under the bridge, heading eastbound. He's walking. Someone get on St. Anthony and come down.
we're on westbound
177
right
St.
now.
Anthony and Marion. See, we need to stay on St. Anthony or get on 94?
Get on 94.
What's that one thing we're on our way? Or 94.
So the suspect's supposed to be up here on the highway.
See him keep coming 94 westbound. He's still in the westbound lane. He's still in the westbound lane, so 94 near Dale. Trying to become specialist and he's not one. No wanted for egg assault, possibly armed with a firearm, 94.
7, we'll take some unmarked or gangs if we can, please.
Is he west of Dale on the north side or east of Dale? We got him, he's on the ground.
Taking the male into custody.
That 163 Tango, one in custody.
163 Tango has one in custody.
Plug in at 27 Squad 0.
Thanks, some copy, quick immediate.
Undersheriff Martin, I would not get onto 94 unless you already are. It's a log jam.
He's at the rush location.
185 Tango, go again.
25 Tango, can you send us a call for PWC purposes?
36.
They've got him in custody.
It's 107 to 187 Tango. When you have time, let me know if we need to send somebody back to that apartment to hold it, please.
187 Tango, he never made it to the apartment, so I'm in the hallway. So, we'll call you in a second here.
Copy.
2750. If there's a squad at St. Anthony and Dale can secure my Tahoe.
22 is it on Dale or St. Anthony?
Got Grossman Center, Ramsey County for theft. Also for larceny out of North Dakota. None from the address now. Keep checking the area.
Do they think they're going to get off? 52 doing area.
David 1659.
Search, thank you.
Copy that.
Bravo 341, EOT.
Have a good day at 1700.
Bravo 799 EOT.
Have a good day. One 8-7 Tango. One 8-7 Tango.
187 Tango.
I have a patch with ME TAC 1. Did you want me to hold that or can I clear it?
You can go ahead and clear it, thank you.
Copy. Ramsey County's dropping the patch with ME TAC 1. Thank you all our agencies for your assistance. 1701.
We're going to be on the north side of Hobby Lobby on County Road B2.
Kelly.
Bravo 156 EOT.
Have a good night at 1701.
traffic.
5286.
Fairview and Oakcrest. Illinois plate. Frank Paul 143345.
Davidson Field.
One 109.
109.
Can you put me on the board? Long number 54860 for BWC purposes, please.
Affirmative. I have you on the board and on the domestic call.
Perfect, thank you.
Welcome, 1702.
Tango area.
Davidson Field.
Two 86.
5286.
We're going to be in the parking lot of 2621 Fairview.
Kelly. $5281 status.
My BWC just went completely kaput. I'm going to head for the barn. Looks like the suspect there with the long numbers.
All right, I'm back.
Took off walking in one direction.
The suspect is a suspect in a felony domestic assault that occurred just up off the highway at a apartment complex. He sounds like maybe he's accused of pointing a gun at someone. It's a domestic, so someone he lives with. The The officers went to stop him, and he fled on foot, so they chased him down onto the highway and did a tremendous job of teamwork to get everyone in here and get the suspect in custody. Make sure he was safe once they got him in custody.
Can you have medics 2363?
And just a tremendous job by the
harassment, call your last number.
St. Paul police, as always. And they got him in custody, checked on his medical status while he was still down. He was breathing hard because he'd been running. And but you got to be really careful to make sure that the person can breathe okay and that they're not injured in a way where you need to get them help before you put them in the car, or possibly on narcotics, and they may be having respiratory or cardiac issues. So you got to make sure they're good and stable, and he was, and he had a lot of pleas that he's not the right guy, but the officer had a good picture of him, and it was the right guy. So just another great job by St. Paul PD. We just happened to be kind of in the right place at the right time, but
I have a squad car standing up at this now. We'll be probably going to have to split off for what reason.
so now he's telling the officers that he's high on PCP. So it wouldn't surprise me because he was acting up a little bit, but generally on PCP you're not gonna be as in control of yourself as this guy seemed to be. So he may be just trying to delay his trip to jail. We'll see. So for some reason
15-86.
folks think if they tell us that they're overdosing, they're going to get out of it. But what happens is they just end up in the hospital being guarded by cops, and then go to the jail and get guarded by cops. It just delays their processing. So now we're eastbound on University, back off of the highways. That was the highways. I have a lot of respect for the state troopers who work on those highways all the time, because I don't like being out where there's cars driving by fast. And in this case, they were kind of blocked, but it's a lot more risky, and people aren't paying attention. They're watching you instead of driving, and it leads to a lot of accidents. So
Yeah.
So this individual will most likely be taken to the hospital to make sure he's okay, unless he is fine. They'll take him to the jail. We have medical staff there that should be able to assess him and determine whether or not he needs to go to the hospital, and then he'll go get booked into the jail for the felony domestic assault. And once again, great work by all the St. Paul officers. I can't say enough about the professionalism that they show every day.
I'm sorry, repeat that?
Are you EOT?
Yeah, my BWC just conked completely out. I thought I had a full charge.
Yeah, we will see you tomorrow.
Copy that. Do you need something?
No, I was just checking. I thought you said something about 1700.
Yeah, but when that thing with the Durango went down, I decided to stay a little bit, but the way your deal on the highway, the camera died. I'll see you tomorrow.
Sounds good.
We'll see you. Thanks, Pat. Most important buildings in St. Paul, the state capitol, and McDonald's. I don't know, this McDonald's is always busy, so I think I've said that before, but
380, I can start for your DOC.
the legislature is currently in session and taking up a lot of public safety related bills, everything from legalizing marijuana to GPS tracking on stolen vehicles to homes or smaller residential homes for kids who need more intensive supervision or treatment. We no longer have the facilities that we had for many years that did that work, and therefore a lot of times those kids either don't get the treatment, the help that they need, or they're sent to other parts of the state, to Red Wing or Moorhead or Anoka County to get that treatment. And County Attorney John Choi has proposed legislation that he's supporting to create these smaller, more intensive myth homes.
For Tango, copy.
So we're going northbound on Rice Street here. The Holiday Station store that is affectionately known as Club Holiday is on our left. One of Bob and Pat's favorite haunts. So people often ask me about the increase in violence that we've seen recently, but really over the last couple of years. There's been a steady increase in violent crime, shootings, murders, gun-related incidents, as well as in seizure of firearms. And people ask me, you know, is this gang stuff? Because they know that my background is working gangs, doing gang investigations, and I do a lot of training related to gangs and expert testimony. But the reality is what's occurring now is different than what we've traditionally seen. We're seeing younger kids that are in smaller groups that are less organized. They don't have a hierarchical structure, and they don't have rules and regulations and leadership that would act as a deterrent to being impulsive. And they taunt each other over social media, which is something that, is worse now than ever. And they just pour fuel on the fire of whatever feud is happening. So it's very difficult to interact with them and intervene sometimes because it's so immediate. They'll shoot someone today, and then that person will shoot back tonight or tomorrow, and there's not a lot of time, so we really have to stay on top of it with our intel folks, St. Paul's intel folks, the Hennepin County CISA, it's called, their crime information and analysis unit. And we really have to swap information that we get in real time if we're going to be successful. And we have been able to. We've taken guns off kids in schools. We've intervened with kids who have posted threats online against their schools. We have stopped vehicles that we knew were going to do a shooting and recovered firearms. But it's really hard to do that when everybody's not on the same page, and a lot of that isn't funded the way that it should be. And I don't want to get into politics, but we don't have funding for metro-wide resources to collaborate.
5383.
We do have some regional violent crime enforcement teams that really focus the majority of their work
on a weapon complaint at Gulf Galaxy 2440 Cleveland. Caller says that they were in the parking lot sitting in their vehicle, and there was a party that walked up to the address talking to themselves. They saw him reach in his pocket, pulled out a gun. So white male, 30s. He put on a blue face mask, bandana, black jacket. Gun was taken from his right pocket originally. The caller left the area immediately.
So we're pretty far away from that in Roseville. A guy who was talking to himself and walked in and pulled a gun out and put it back in his pants. It sounds like by the time we get there, he'll either be gone or the officers up there will have him in custody. So I'm not going to go all the way up there, but it used to be you'd hear a call like that and go, he probably doesn't really have a gun. It's probably a bottle or his cell phone or something. But now, there's a good chance he actually has a gun, because the proliferation of guns on the street is unbelievable.
Averageville, blue jacket, blue or dark pants, and had a blue face mask on.
So we're headed eastbound on Maryland at 35E. We'll cross over from St. Paul's Central District to St. Paul's East District.
He walked up to the address. I'm not sure if he went in Gulf Galaxy, just somewhere towards that building.
Okay.
might hear those texts. I get notifications of
31.
serious incidents. So
scene.
this
We'll
gentleman with the gun going into Golf Galaxy was just sent out, so we would get these notifications if, for example, we weren't listening to the radio. So
the manager and say you can try to get a hold of the cop. We've got eyes on the door. Everything seems like business is going on as usual.
So there's officers there. They say it looks like business as usual, and so they're gonna check with the manager.
Four finding third floor.
Copy.
5282 area. Cavity.
84816 traffic.
So let me see if I can find some of the stolen cars we're looking for right now. So today, 2021 Chevy Silverado. It's a U-Haul truck, Arizona license.
8285 update.
Adam Lincoln 39793.
Appears that several employees up against the window looking towards squads.
Disregard that one. Maplewood recovered that one.
Yeah, the employees looking out the windows, no signs of distress.
Black Dodge Durango. That no plate on that one. And I thought I had that one in here somewhere. A black Chevy Suburban. Mary Henry Victor 990. It's a 2002 black Chevy Suburban.
375 Tango.
375 Tango.
You can cancel 266.
266 Tango clear.
Those are all the ones I see right now that are current.
Tango update.
85 Tango, go ahead.
Sounds like the smell is wearing all blue. Seem to be chasing the cars in the parking lot. Last seen heading southbound towards LA Fitness. White male wearing all blue. Everything is fine inside Golf Galaxy.
Copy. Everything's fine inside the address. Male was likely keeping vehicles in the parking lot. Last seen heading southbound. White male, 30s, wearing all blue. Last seen towards LA Fitness.
Well, he's leaving Golf Galaxy and going to LA Fitness. Maybe he decided he needs a good workout before he goes golfing. But if he's got a gun, he won't make it too far. There are a couple of hotels over there that are frequented by
5284.
folks that are down on their so
We're going to be looking for
be a good place to look for him.
Yeah, those both spots in the area of County Review 2. Check.
So the dispatcher asked.
Sounds like he's going to be maybe at LA Fitness. Myself and Adrian are going to be checking.
Copy. Checking LA Fitness.
The dispatcher announced a 10-1. That means that keep the air clear unless you have an emergency traffic. While they check for safety reasons.
182.
Could you please change this to a disturbance, domestic?
Nothing's much worse than having emergency traffic and trying to get on the air and somebody's traffic stop or something that's 6.
Yeah, Bravo.
644.
Bravo 614. Have a leading right.
I'm eastbound on Maryland.
You say Bravo
We're
644?
about crossing Duluth, approaching Johnson Parkway. Kind of the heart of the east side over here. I guess it would be the upper part of the east side.
Choose up to, I believe it's Bravo 614.
Copy. Sorry, copy. You have already not leaving higher ground for 30.
Yep.
So we're driving by the Bureau of Criminal Apprehension, or BCA, our state investigative agency. I always like to give a shout out to them for the tremendous work they do. Superintendent Drew Evans and his folks really do a great job serving law enforcement. And they process our DNA and our firearms, and we use them for major crime scenes, but they also act as the investigators for major crimes across the state and for incidents involving officers' use of deadly force shared on Facebook. You get we go live every Monday afternoon. I go at some point. This is Undersheriff Mike Martin. Then on Wednesday, the CAT team, the young and the selfless, we call them, are out and about, and they'll take turns with the camera and talking about our car theft and on Friday 9 Fletcher got are out and about, and generally will work from about 9-11 to 2 in the morning or whenever it slows down. And
I believe they'll have our suspect here at the Norwood 3rd floor. We're watching camera, so I'll take my spot for my location.
I know that
the 10-1 for 8-2 is at Norwood, watching the suspect on camera, 3rd floor.
Surprise, but the suspect is at one of those hotels that I mentioned earlier, and they're trying to take him into custody, or I guess check on him and see whether or not he is armed.
The cop is tied up. The caller was angry, reporting he went inside for a moment, came out and his belongings were stolen. We don't have any further info.
We're southbound on White Bear Avenue at Case right now.
Copy. Male is staying in room 306.
8-foot tango, I'll be over to 8-2.
Copy. 8-2, did they give you a name for the party?
Looking on that right now.
Yep.
Line 3-1. I'm not seeing here. M5282 info for officers. 306 is going to be the southwest corner of the property. Next squad in, if we can get eyes on that southwest exit.
So they're setting up a perimeter on that hotel over in Roseville. Sounds like the suspect may have gone into a room there, and they have a pretty good idea who's staying in which room, so I'm sure they let them know that. I'm going to mute you for a second here.
Johnny, Lumiere, out with mail, third floor, Spearwell.
Sorry about that. I had to mute for a second. Get some information from one of our sergeants. Sounds like the suspect's in Roseville.
Tango, forward, one in custody.
Johnny, one in custody, code 4.
Still southbound on White Bear from 3rd. Approaching Old Hudson.
3714.
I think the groceries were taken. They blend a black sedan on all directions.
3714, go copy.
Looking out, I'm coming further southwest road.
Yeah, the southwest room.
So now we're crossing over I-94 on White Bear.
Tango, where are you guys?
There's a little commercial area over here off of Suburban and Burns that has like Target and Popeyes and a Mexican restaurant called Los Campo, which is really good, and liquor stores and various fast food restaurants.
35 Tango, we're coming down to the lobby.
I should have mentioned on Friday nights, Nicole Sparks usually comes on around midnight for Nick at night, Nicole at night, and she's with our carjacking and auto theft team, and so she'll be out while Pat and Bob are out as well, and generally 2 or 3 other members of our team.
Como, coming up to Marion. Spinning myself right. Echo X-ray. Correction.
Right now, as you can see, the roads are wet because it's been raining. It was raining hard all morning and then raining off and on throughout the day. But it's about 35 degrees. So the roads aren't bad, but when it gets below freezing, these roads are going to be like a skating rink.
909 for clear.
Driving by Sonic up here.
And then everyone's booked.
I've never eaten at a Sonic, but I've heard the food is good there. I'm gonna have to try it sometime. Driving by the Aldi here on Ruth and
445, yeah.
Suburban. The Aldi on the north side of Minneapolis closed down after, I think it had to be there for, I don't know, 12, 15 years probably, because it was there when I was the inspector on the north side. For those of you who don't know, I was a Minneapolis cop for 25 years, retired from there, finishing my career as the commander of the North Side Precinct for 5 years, and then had a great opportunity to meet some good people in the community and work with them to reduce crime, and had a lot of success. I retired from there and worked at the University of Minnesota for a little bit as doing emergency management, threat assessments, security planning and reviews, emergency planning and training for the employees. And then when Bob Fletcher was elected sheriff, he asked me to come work for him over here and run the regional services division. So now I run the division that has our carjacking and auto theft team, our SWAT team, our violent crime enforcement team, our central investigations or general investigations unit, depends on who you ask, our intel unit, and what am I forgetting? I oversee our mobile field force, and a lot of fun things to be in charge of. And I have some tremendous people that work with me running those units. So been over here for 4 years. Sheriff was just re-elected in January. He started his second term, and he actually had been the sheriff before. He'd served 3 terms, I believe, as the sheriff, and then lost an election and was out, and then won it and came back. So we're going through a parking lot on the east side of St. Paul, and where we oftentimes find stolen, looking for any that don't fit in or that may potentially be stolen.
25 Tango, can I get a case number over the air, please?
185 Tango, your case number is 032970.
I want to thank everybody who shared this live on patrol video with your friends. I can see people did, and I appreciate that. For those of you who aren't from Minnesota, especially the Twin Cities, this is the leftovers on the ground of a big snowstorm that we had and we plowed out of, but the larger cities have a very difficult time cleaning the streets, mainly because so many cars park on the streets, so they can't plow from curb to curb like they need to oftentimes, and so they'll enact snow emergencies where they tell people they can only park on one side, the odd or the even side of the street for a day, and then they have to move their car. That gives them the opportunity to do it, but we still end up with a lot of slop and a lot of ruts. And I apologize if that's creating a lot of rattling. So just so you're aware, and I'm not going to verbalize why I'm going down every certain street I'm going down, but sometimes we get intelligence, and I'm actually driving by streets or addresses looking for vehicles that were looking for suspects, and obviously I can't put that out on the air because even the bad guys are fans of Live on Patrol, but there is a method to my madness and how I drive around.
Cross with Ivy?
Sorry about that, DeSoto.
Copy DeSoto and Ivy.
Things that we don't talk about enough when we're out here is the tremendous civilian support that we get. The people who are, they're not out here carrying a badge, but they're all the stuff that can do successful at, whether it's the and benefits or our contract manager or accountants, our ambassadors that, although they aren't sworn, are out there working to keep kids from retaliating and events from escalating. And without those folks, we couldn't do the work that we do. And our patrol officers who are working out of our patrol station responded to 911 calls and doing traffic and DWI enforcement up in our contract cities. We just have a tremendous staff here, and we're fortunate.
In an area in Mission Health Lane on an accident. It was originally a transfer in from Anoka County. They said they spoke with a female, said she was unable to stop her vehicle and got involved in an accident with two other vehicles. They've been unable to reach that original caller back on any callbacks. So it's going to be listed as unknown injuries. Medics are going to be en route.
So we're on Minnehaha Avenue, and or if you're St. Paul Cop Haha Avenue, and Cherry Pit and Big couple of mainstays. We just went by the Little Oven too. Great people. And we're headed back westbound. A cop friend of mine this morning who's in Florida, he was telling me that they had the power was out at their house and they had to leave because it got below 50 degrees. To the cold, the bugs, other than mosquitoes in the summer, we don't get all of the bugs that they get where it's nice and warm down.
Is somebody copy code 453?
And I have yet to get a call for a rattlesnake on someone's porch or an alligator. Actually, alligators look like they might be fun to catch, but as long as they don't get their head turned around on you. Fab.
4438.
4438.
Courtesy ride to adult female to 6040. 40.
Were you calling me, Mike?
We had a black Durango here with a weird rear plate. Just went eastbound Wells from Forest.
Copy that. So, Sergeant Cervaca let me know that he's got a Durango over here on the east side he said had a weird plate. I don't know exactly what that means, but I'm gonna kind of head that way.
I lost it. I don't know where. They had to go on Phelan here somewhere. I don't know if they went either east or west.
Copy that. I'm at Johnson and Phelan, so if it comes east, I'll pick it up. What color was it?
Black rims, no front plate. And it's got a white placard, but not a Minnesota one with some kind of temp tag on it.
Copy that. I'll sit up here on Phelan for a minute. So he gave that description. Hopefully you heard it. Black Dodge Durango, black wheels, no front plate, and some kind of placard in the back, but not a Minnesota temp tag. And he said it either went east or west on Phelan. We are east on Phelan, so if it comes this way, we will hopefully be able to pick it up.
Could you clear me from the call message?
Mike, it's westbound. It's coming up to Cayuga.
Copy. I'm at Johnson, but I'll head that way. So it went westbound. He picked it up at Cayuga, which is a little ways. And the bad part is this isn't a very good road for passing on.
Got it.
traffic.
2750.
Olive and Phelan, Black Durango. It's got some kind of non-Minnesota temp.
Copy it, Phelan and Olive. Start Central for you.
So he stopped.
Hey, thank you, break for county for a minute. I'm right behind.
All right, good. There's another squad that's closer that's right behind him. He's stopping the vehicle. We'll head that way, but we don't need to go code 3 and create an accident or...
Before you go.
wreck our beautiful new Tahoe.
Copy 3. I have the numbers. So 653 East.
5928. 59, 6928. 23.5. I'll get it March morning.
Copy canceling. So he's canceling us. We're still about half a mile out, but he's everything must have been okay with that car, which oftentimes happens. It looks suspicious, but then you stop it and everything's in order, and maybe it's from another state, just bought it and have the paperwork and everything's good. So
Go ahead.
Route 200 Wilson Street, apartment 406, correlation.
Copy, do you want another squad to go with?
Take firm points available.
So you can see how, you know, when we have 4 or 5 cars out here, we kind of work as a team. We try to stay in the same area. Unless it gets really slow, then we may split up. But that way we can back each other up and we don't have to tie up resources from other agencies.
In the area of the we're not locating anything.
Copy. You want me to cancel paramedics for now? We're still not able to get hold of the original caller that called an open.
We're out with the line right now. We'll shut the area.
So we're going westbound on Phelan, approaching Olive.
I'm 43, you do?
Just gonna stop and make sure they're all
You can
good.
have it.
All good?
We're good, yeah.
Cool.
Looks pretty similar.
Yeah, exactly.
We'll see ya.
All right, see ya.
I'll let you go on.
I don't know. Probably not much longer.
Okay.
So,
6:30 or
but
6?
I'm live. Probably 6:30.
Okay, sounds good.
All right, thanks. So we stopped at the stop there and everything was good. I think he thought that was possibly the vehicle that fled earlier from
5285 Tango.
St. Paul PD on the west side, but it was not.
Yep.
So we cross back into the Central District.
Had a hold the caller on that. Yeah, KWI, you can clear yourself report if you need help controlling it.
Kevin?
That's doing such a...
Hey, Tango.
He's clearing the 306, 2401.
Kevin, clearing room 306.
Sorry for all the rattling here.
One 165.
Take quick drive through the holiday in the tobacco store here.
30 mileage 772.
Make sure everyone's behaving. I remember many years ago hearing a lady
Those pedals in a sort of less lethal. That would be much appreciated if it's approved.
saying to her kids, "Are you being haved?" And I can't get over saying being haved, making sure everybody's being haved,
1750.
because I just thought it sounded so funny. So that's what we do.
Show me around.
Make sure people are being haved.
Is what have less lethal?
380, I got a 40.
380's got a 40.
So they're asking for less lethal over on the east side. I gotta see where. I don't know why, but my didn't see.
I can start towards your DKP.
So they have a burglary going on the east side of St. Paul. The officers have it a garage. It sounds like surrounded, and they were asking for a less lethal option, which is always nice to have. And one of the officers said they had a 40, which is a 40 millimeter launcher, basically, that shoots less lethal. You can put different things in there, bean bags, impact rounds, gas rounds that will help incapacitate someone but won't, are less likely to be lethal. In other words, something like mace is considered less lethal. Have people died from mace? Yes. So it's not non-lethal, it's just less lethal. And it's nice to have that option, because you don't know who you're dealing with, whether or not they're armed. If they're not armed and you're standing there with your gun in your hand or rifle in your hand, you can't respond as quickly and as appropriately. So generally there's in a situation like that, you might have somebody who has lethal cover, so they have a gun or a patrol rifle, and then you have people with less lethal tasers, 40 millimeters, beanbag rounds, bowler wrap, which is shoots out a thing that wraps around your arms or your legs and incapacitates you. Those are technologies that weren't available when
41.
I became a police officer.
Going to be out with one on foot next to AMC. Supposedly he brandished a knife in a theft at Von Mar.
Yeah, if there's another squad that can start Rosedale AMC.
So we're a long ways away from that Rosedale AMC.
5181, I'm not on the board, but you can show me in row post 27599.
A male has a knife and apparently was involved in a theft at Von Mar in the mall and then brandished the knife.
Your 1500 break goes on.
So we're northbound on Rice Street. Actually, I think I might rename it Rice Trail because it's more like a trail in the woods than a street.
25715 in the area of AMC. Suspect.
I believe you said he's out with the mail.
So those officers over on the east side of St. Paul just called out they have the one in custody from their burglary. So sounds like they didn't need to use their less lethal.
Code 4. Safely there.
This one I copy is code 4 and 5.
So we're at Arlington. One of the first arrests I made when I was at the sheriff's office was in the parking lot of the Coffee Cup here, which since had a fire and has been closed, but
Vehicle has a flat tire and is waiting for AAA, EPA for them is 10 to 15.
I went to stop a car that was driving erratically and they pulled into that lot and were going to try to flee from me, but they didn't realize the lot was a one-way in and blocked off. So they stopped and I ended up getting a gun with an extended magazine and a bunch of marijuana out of the car.
5941.
5941.
There's a pending calling out from security that had witnessed the mail as well. And that just played the night. Let's keep it into yours. I'll have the contact info for him.
Copy that, thank you.
Welcome to
25, you can be clear of the low picture. You know what?
So we're on Rice. We're going to go westbound on Larpenter and see what we can find down that way. Trying to keep an eye on pending calls.
690.
I'll be doing a knock and talk at 17 from 16th place intersection.
1726 a.m. speaking.
Is there an IBIS that can respond to regions?
So as we drive down here westbound on Larpenter, on the right-hand side is the city of Roseville, and on the left-hand side is the city of St. Paul. And
530, I still have it from the last call in west. What's the location that's needed? I can swing it over.
We'll need it down at Regions, down D6 down there.
so they're
For 5 days.
St. Paul officers are asking for an IBIS, and I'm not going to remember what the acronym stands for. It's like Incident-Based Identification System or something like that. But you put the person's finger or thumb on it, and it reads the fingerprint and tells you who the person is if they've been fingerprinted or booked before. And it's a great way to identify people. So they were asking for one of those down at the hospital. And normally there is one at the hospital, but I've been told that it's broken. It's not working.
Setting case number 033025.
But it's very common to arrest someone who refuses to identify themselves, usually because they have a warrant or they're wanted from somewhere, and the IBIS is a way to get them positively identified. Also, the ME or medical examiner will sometimes use an IBIS to identify a body that's found, for example, in the river or in, anywhere
22.
that they can't identify.
Additional regarding the domestic part of this call, the son does not have a permit or a license. There is a history of domestic, does not know who to be called in any fight with officers. Does have a history of drinking and using drugs, unknown if he is using today.
So we're gonna head southbound on Dale from Larpenter back in the city of St. Paul.
Squad 375 Tango.
75
Could you please tell me who the central sergeant is right now?
Walters and Cruz.
Thank you.
165, any mileage, 776.
Dale is a
165.
busy north-south street in St. Paul. Great way to get from the northern suburbs down into the city of St. Paul and vice versa.
Early conduct at Walgreens, 740 feet. There is two parties with a trespass before coming up with their trespass initially for assaulting between employees of the security guard. Unknown as their violent today. There is a flag zone of 35 to 7 of the road for the trespass in front of somebody with a tiger suit on it and another Latino.
Cover both from PD.
And we're going to cross over Maryland, still southbound on Dale. Truck there. A lot of
562 pounds and a test positive for cancer.
So this is the Como Front Dale intersection. Kind of the crossroads of the north end here, or what I would call the north end.
690.
Code 4, clear advised. You can send me the next ending east.
Loaded 75, Kennard, white Audi that's been parked blocking the College Walkway since Wednesday. 1811.
So we're coming down here. We're going to cross over Minnehaha when the light turns green. We're back in the Central District in St. Paul. It was a big transition for me when I came from Minneapolis over to this side of the river, because I had to learn all the major streets, of course, and also the numbering system over here is much different. In Minneapolis, it would start with a new 100 set of numbers every block, and over here those are spread out and it's based on the mileage. So it makes it a little bit more difficult to anticipate where you are unless you really know how it's divided up.
Should be arriving at a 2020 Lake Common, New York.
Squad 376, LEC adult male.
I see if you're 13.
Driving over University. Still heading southbound here. I'm hearing sirens, but they're very faint, and I hope I can see a squad coming up behind. But he's a ways back there. We're south on Dale, approaching Selby. And we're going to go westbound. It's a great neighborhood over here. A lot of restaurants and just small boutique type businesses.
5186, show me all the inside table.
Guy plowing the sidewalk with a four-wheeler. Gotta like that.
Be advised, he'll be at 46 5th Street, the VFB.
If you were watching if it was last Friday or the one before. I think it was the one before. And Sergeant Suki got in a chase that ended up over this way. And he was able to chase down the young man that was driving the stolen car and get him into custody.
445 copy.
8196 and 8197.
With some help from St. Paul PD and
10 8th Avenue Northwest, all around maintenance and repair.
members of the CAT
suspicious
team.
vehicle check. Black Dodge Ram 1500s and parked out front for about an hour. Occupied times 2. Played on its Bravo Romeo 848. And Express heavy. Hey.
Thank you. Call 1327 Seminary.
5181. 5181. Not on the board, but can you send me the Barnes & Noble bus?
I'm going to pull over here for a second so I can look at the calls. There are a significant number of calls and some in and I want what's going on.
5701.
You can clear the call, and currently on 5230 is going to be EOT. You can also assign me in 5706. Send us the Norwood call, please.
Okay.
So there's some theft calls pending, some parking, a hit and run accident, welfare check. And a medical that's way far away from us.
5941.
5941.
Supposedly clear report. Can you show me back off duty?
I just wanted to make sure I'm not missing anything.
Debbie.
So 375 Tango on channel 2.
375 Tango.
I just spoke with Sergeant Walters. We are going to be going to 565 State Street, and we're going to need 2 central officers to assist us there to make sure that our victim will be safe while she's picking up some clothes. So we're going to go. 274.
So we're northbound on Lexington from
275
Marshall.
Tango, we're going to be leaving this location.
On the right side is Jimmy Lee Rec,
heading to the
and
west
on the
side.
left side, Central High School. Very busy places, a lot of kids frequent Jimmy Lee Rec, obviously the high school, and when the kids get off school, they'll oftentimes go over to Jimmy Lee Rec to play basketball or be involved in other activities, and it's
Just before you.
Copy. WWC.
of course, anytime you have a lot of kids, you might have some problems with the kids. And about a month ago, there was a shooting outside that involved actually a staff member and a kid. And the kid was shot in the head. Fortunately, it sounds like he may be improving. His condition may be improving. and that's great. We've been praying for him ever since.
.530 on that region. Which unit is that? Westminster Card.
So we're northbound on Lexington. Trying to stay more centralized if I can.
27 Tango, 530, that reaches with Ivan, where do you need to go?
He's here with me, thank you.
Okay. 27 Tango, 530, that reaches with Ivan, where do you need to go?
He's here with me, thank you.
We're turning eastbound on University from Lexington, right by the light rail train. We've talked about this before, but the light rail runs between Minneapolis and St. Paul. And also, sorry about that, and also out to the Mall of America and the airport. So if you come to town, you can hit all those hot spots on the light rail, the transit, all the way from the Union Depot in St. Paul to Target Field and US Bank Stadium in downtown Minneapolis to where the Target Center is, also where the Timberwolves play, all the way to out to the Mall of America and the airport. Kind of slowed down a little bit here. I don't want to use the Q word in St. Paul, but
in Hazelwood.
hopefully something will kick off relatively soon.
I think ship change thing.
Can I get a case number?
So the temperature's holding pretty well at 35 degrees right now, so that's good. Otherwise, we would have a real mess on our hands
From my location to the LEC.
with frozen streets and a lot of accidents. So I was talking to someone earlier today about their son who's trying to make a career choice. He's in a position that he kind of enjoys, but he doesn't feel really supported, and he's thinking about moving to do something else. And you know, I was thinking to myself, I wish more people had the opportunity to do what I did, which is, and I think everybody does, they just don't do it. Find something you love doing and then pursue it and become the very best at it that you can. It took me a while to decide what I wanted to do when I graduated from college. I had several different jobs, and it wasn't that I wasn't good at them. It was I didn't enjoy them. I just didn't feel like I was making a difference, and I wasn't having fun, and it just wasn't fulfilling. And then I went on a ride along, and I learned about policing, and it seemed exciting, and I thought, I'm going to do this. I'm going to try it. And I did. And sure enough, I loved it. And, you know, I don't care what it is. It could be, you know, working at a golf course. It could be driving a Metro Transit bus. It could be construction. But find something that you enjoy doing and then become the best at it. Learn everything you can about it. And be somebody who other people look to for advice. And it just makes your life so fulfilling if you're doing something that you enjoy getting out of bed to do every day. And I've done enough of the other stuff. I've done enough, and not every day as a police officer has been rosy, trust me. But I enjoyed it so much and had such a passion for it that I was willing to go through the tougher days, the days when you have a boss that was over their head as a sergeant and is now a chief, or you know, co-worker that's not carrying their load. It's easier to get through those things when you're doing something that you really enjoy doing and that you feel like you're making a difference. And that's why I love being here at the sheriff's office. The sheriff gives us the opportunity to really make a difference and be on the cutting edge of intervening in violent crime and intelligence and really making a difference. You know, it's no offense to firefighters, but firefighters get called and you know they're reacting to fires and stuff, and I know they do other preventative work, but we're not that way. If we just sit around and wait to get called, things are only going to get worse. We have to be proactive. We have to be out there finding the guns and getting the wanted people off the street and protecting our youth. And there's no better feeling than when some parent tells you that you've made a difference in their kid's life or in their life. And you know, I had a partner who he also loved police work, and he would always look at me, he called me Marty, and he'd say, Marty, all this and a paycheck too. Can you believe they pay us to do this? That's the kind of job you want. One where, you know, if you could live without it, you know, you do it for free. If you could live without being paid. Of course, we all got to pay our bills, but find something like that you enjoy, and be a teacher. You know, teachers make such a difference in the lives of kids. All right, that's my soapbox for the day.
Their traffic.
DOT.
Copy that. Thanks. So we're out and about. Probably won't stay out much longer, but it's been a long day already. And again, I apologize for the late start. I'm trying out these hearing aids, and so far they're not too bad. I'm starting to get used to them. Although every once in a while I feel like something's itching in my ear, and then I forget they're on. That's probably a good thing. So we're to go north on Payne Avenue here from Phelan. See what we can see. Busy area over here.
Now, 2126 9th Street, downtown. Frame mileage 100,624. Is there somebody to open up the lobby of McDonald's? Four 458 Park Clear Park.
4458 copy.
So I want to encourage everyone to become a member of the Bob's Backseat group. They kind of keep up on everything that we're doing, and we'll let you know if there's events and stuff coming up, as well as the Live on Patrol website on Facebook and Live on Patrol on YouTube. I know when I'm at home on my big TV, if I'm not working, I have YouTube on, the YouTube app, and Live on Patrol. But you can also watch it on your phone or on Facebook, wherever you are. Especially at work. Just don't let your boss know that you're watching it at work. And
I'm standing outside the lobby, and everything through the windows appears fine, but I can't get in.
So, officers on a call at McDonald's, and the building's locked up, and he can't get inside to talk to the staff and make sure everything's good. So, anyway, like our page, subscribe to the YouTube, and let us know what interests you. And make sure you share it with your friends, so that who may not know, I'm surprised how many of my friends don't know that we do this, and I'll mention it, or someone will mention it, and then I have to explain to them what we're doing, and so they can become a backseater. Somebody asked me earlier where I went to college. I went to the University of Minnesota. I got a 4-year degree in economics, and then went on to get my master's at St. Thomas in police leadership, education, and administration, and then had the opportunity to go to some postgraduate schools at the Southern Police Institute at the University of Louisville and the Senior Management Institute for Police, which is in Boston. And so I've been fortunate enough to get some good education, but there's nothing better than experience. Experience. I was listening to a show over the weekend where a plumber was talking about how to fix a leak. Talking about how just the experience of having done different repairs is better than any school you could go to or any book you could read. Just knowing what works and what doesn't work, and different types of setups, and it's no different in policing. It's experience. Experience makes us safer, and it allows us to be more effective at what we do, which is why Sheriff Fletcher and Deputy Scott are some of the best cops around, because they're like 100 each, I think. I'm just kidding. But they have a lot of experience, 30 and 40 years plus, and have seen a lot of stuff. Alright, well, I'm gonna shut it down. It's relatively quiet, and I'm gonna shut it down for the night. I may see you on Wednesday, otherwise Friday night with Bob and Pat. Thanks for listening. Make sure you share this and subscribe to it if you're on YouTube.
Report. 20% copy.
So I gotta let the smartest man know that I'm done.
That flag down at the most part, they'll build it by a desk.